Okay, so welcome to my segment that I should do more often, called What Would They Think? What Would They Think is pretty much not where two characters or character or characters meet, and what would they talk about, and what would they interact with one another, and how would they meet? How would they, respond to one another? Not necessarily fight, but just like what if this character met that character? How would they meet? So, how would they, what kind of interests would they share and stuff like that. So, I'm going to talk about something I haven't talked about on this, channel at all, which is The Amazing World of Gumball. Now, I watch this show, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. I've seen a few episodes. It's actually kind of funny. At some points, I'm not like a big fan. I don't watch the show religiously. I mean, if it's on, I'll watch it because it does have some actually really good humor in there. But, I was just thinking about this today, and, since the Simpsons marathon, I think, is pretty much winding down to a close. Well, it's actually done for me, because they've gone to all the episodes that suck. So, I decided, you know what? Since I already talked about the Simpsons in a Q&A, might as well talk about them again. And what if, the Wattersons from The Amazing World of Gumball met the Simpsons? What would what things would they talk about? Now, first and foremost, oh my god, Richard and Homer together, hanging out. You could just I want to see that more than Homer meeting Peter and the Family Guy crossover they're doing. I want to see that more. The Amazing World of the Simpsons. Get on that, Fox and Cartoon Network, you bloody broadcast tyrants. But, anyway. So yeah, Homer and Richard Watterson hanging out together. Those two, I wouldn't see them like beating each other up, more like Homer and Richard just having like, I found my true soulmate. I think it would just be great because Homer would be kind of envious of Richard, like, you're a stay-at-home dad? You are living every man's dream, my friend. And Richard would be like, oh, you actually have a job and you do nothing? You're living my dream. So that's what I kind of see between Homer and Richard getting on to all these shenanigans. Homer introducing Richard to Duff beer. Here, try this alcohol. It'll make you smarter, I think. I don't know, but I think it would just be hilarious of Richard's first reaction to alcohol. And be like, oh goody, I can kill more brain cells this way. Did I ever have brain cells? Who cares? I don't know, I'm not good with off-the-cuff humor sometimes, as you can tell. But yeah, Homer and Richard would be so cool hanging out, like, just doing all this childish stuff, and just hanging out and being the best of friends. Moving on to Nicole, and that's Gumball's mom, and Nicole and Marge would just kind of share all these horror stories that their husbands and families in general have put them through. Dear Lord, could you just see them comparing Homer and Richard, and then, comparing Gumball and Bart, and just being like, oh, well, my son did this, and he's like, oh, that's nothing, my son did this, or, my daughter did this, or my husband did that. I could definitely see, those two just talking back to one another, and, showing that they still do love their family, but dear Lord, does their family drive them up the frickin' wall, and they can't help but love them. That's kind of the sad part. And I think that would just be great, just to see them sitting on the couch, just talking. That would be so much fun. Gumball and Darwin hanging out with Bart and Lisa. That would be a lot. Well, Bart and Lisa meeting Gumball, Anais, and Darwin. That would be so much fun, like Bart teaching him all these words, like, if you want to say something mean to your dad, just say, like, eat my shorts or something. Oh yeah, and Homer getting pissed off at Gumball and trying to choke him out. I could definitely see, like, Gumball saying to Richard and Homer, eat my shorts, and then Homer freaks out and just goes, why, you little... and starts choking out Gumball, and you just realize, oh, that's right, this is your kid I can't abuse. So I think that would be pretty cool if just Bart and Gumball, those two would get into trouble, especially with Darwin hanging out. Lisa and Anais would just be there trying to be the voice of reason, while Bart, Gumball, and Darwin are raising all kinds of hell, while poor Maggie is left behind with Marge and Nicole. That would be so much fun to see, of just them running around and, causing all kinds of havoc. Can you imagine those two together? Especially Gumball and Bart together. Those two would probably cause thousands of dollars of damage, whereas their respective fathers hanging out together would probably cause billions of dollars of damage. So that's what I kind of see. Now, the big thing is, where could you possibly see them hanging out? With the Simpsons in imagine the Simpsons in Elmore. Imagine the Simpsons in Elmore and the Homer encountering the police officer. I can't remember his name, but the police officer who is a donut. He'd see him, and in a heartbeat, he'd run over and try to eat him. And I could just imagine this. Edible law enforcement. I could admit it. You'd probably see that too, of Homer running over, tackling him, and beginning to devour the poor donut man, the poor donut cop, whose again name I can't remember. Also, probably getting into a fight with everyone, and possibly eat, the little piece of toast Anton, Anton's dancing around, and then they hear it. Eep! They all look around and see Homer consuming Anton, he's already down Homer's throat, and they turn around and then they see the banana getting peeled by Homer and eating it. It's and Marge is like, "Stop, Homer! We're guests here. Oh, why have to all the citizens be tasty?" And keep eating the banana while he's screaming in pain. I'm just imagining that, of Homer going around eating all the edible characters of The Amazing World of Gumball, while Richard is like, "You can eat them? Cannibalism is fun now." So that is one way of looking at it. Then you have Mr. Stevens, who is, I think his name is Stevens, or is it I can't remember, the cloud hippie guy. I could just see him and Homer being like, "Out of my way, Flanders of Earth 2. So that's what I kind of see, is him looking at, "Oh, why does there have to be a Flanders in this universe too?" But yeah, now imagine the Wattersons in Springfield. That would be all kinds of hell. Especially Richard discovering imagine Richard discovering the Moe's Tavern. He would just be like, "I found a magical place today, Nicole. I don't want to leave. Also, I think I threw up all over the floor." So I could just imagine that. And everyone in especially Moe's Tavern, imagine Barney when he sees Richard walk in. "Oh no, I'm having another pink bunny hallucination." Just something like that. And then imagine Richard and Homer, palling around at the nuclear power plant, and everyone would be freaking out. Not at the fact that it's a giant bunny, but also the fact that these two might cause a massive, nuclear meltdown as well. There's a problem. But yeah, the other things I could see is Nicole, Nicole and Marge hanging out at the shopping mall and shopping from the Quickie Mart, or Darwin, Gumball, and Bart trying to pull off one big scheme or whatever, and Anais and Lisa trying to convince them to talk them out of it. Fun stuff like that. I could definitely see these guys hanging out, just having a lot of fun, and I wouldn't see them arguing much per se, but definitely a lot of hilarity ensues. That's what I get from this, is that a lot of hilarity of these two families meeting would be just great. I think this, once again, I would pay to see The Simpsons meet The Amazing World of Gumball over why'd I say The Family Guy? Family Guy. Yeah, I'd rather see this than the Family Guy crossover, like I said earlier. But yeah. So yeah, I know I kind of stumbled through this. This is a very off the cuff, and I haven't really done these in a while. And I was just kind of like, well, I was literally like, fuck it, let's just do it. So so I'm sorry if I kind of stumbled through this one. But yeah, but I want to ask you guys, what do you think it would be like if the Simpsons encountered the Wattersons? Do you think these guys would get along well? Do you think they wouldn't? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to know. But once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'm out.